The wonderfully complex and abstract qualities of the human mind that separate us from other beasts likely did not evolve solely because of their assistance in survival. How do the abilities to tell a clever anecdote, play a classical score on the piano without missing a note, sculpt an emotionally provocative piece of art, or write an articulate and interesting poem help in survival? In particular, how did these kinds of behaviors help our hominid ancestors survive under ancestrally natural conditions on the African savanna? They didn't. At least, not directly. According to Geoffrey Miller's notion of mental courtship displays, these high-level manifestations of creative intelligence have come to typify our species, and not only because they aided in survival. An emotionally provocative poem would not help much in the event of a lion attack. Musical prowess is the last thing you need when the storm comes through the village. A particularly clever wit is more likely to get you punched in the face by a competing male compared with a wit that's altogether dull. However, remember that Darwin's theory of evolution suggests that there are two major forces that come to shape the nature of organisms: natural selection, which selects for qualities that aid in survival, and sexual selection, which selects for qualities that increase reproductive output. Perhaps, as Miller's theory of courtship display suggests, the creative intelligence that uniquely characterizes humans was heavily influenced by sexual selection. Under this account, a feature such as our ability to write poetry or fiction arose not because these skills helped in survival, but rather because they helped in the domain of life that's even more important than survival. From a Darwinian perspective, mating. Perhaps creative writing is sexy. Perhaps highly creative writers were more likely to acquire mates than those without imagination across the part of the history of our species that included poetry and fiction. Not everyone is good at creative writing, but humans differ from each other in many different ways, and high levels of skill in any of a number of domains can be sexy from a sexual selection perspective. Indeed, in The Mating Mind, Miller argues that sexual selection may have played a greater role than natural selection in shaping our species' talents for storytelling, art, music, sports, dance, humor, and leadership. The idea that music may have been shaped by sexual selection can be traced back to Darwin. It appears probable that the progenitors of man, either the males or females or both sexes, before acquiring the power of expressing mutual love in articulate language, endeavored to charm each other with musical notes and rhythm. Darwin, 1871, page 880. On the face of it, this all certainly seems valid. There is plenty of sexual hysteria relating to rock stars, writers, and artists. Throughout history, many creative people, some with less than amazing looks, have had high reproductive success. Aphrodite, Woody Allen, Germaine Greer, Tori Amos, Jimi Hendrix, Charlie Chaplin, Pablo Picasso, Ray Charles, Albert Einstein, and Russell Brand, just to name a few. So if there is indeed a link between creativity and mating success, then it does not matter if poetry is a totally wasteful handicap when it comes to survival. Genes for the qualities that underlie poetic abilities will be selected by the fact that they increase reproductive opportunities, and ultimately, reproductive success. Miller's theory is certainly tantalizing. However, it begs the question: why would poetry and other uniquely human cognitive abilities be considered attractive in potential mates?
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.